What is social cognitive theory? Social cognitive theory is a theory introduced by Albert Bandera of Stanford University. In this theory, we suggest that people learn by observing others. Unlike theories such as behaviorism, social cognitive theory asserts that individuals engage actively rather than passively with both the environment and their own cognitive processes. And learning is an internal mental process that may or may not be reflected in the learner's behavior. Ormrod states that cognitive processes are seen as influencing motivation. Those with high self-efficacy or groups with collective self-efficacy or confidence in their ability to achieve their goals are more motivated than others. The motivation provided by self-efficacy affects the choices learners make in the classroom, their goals, efforts, persistence, and learning. Vicarious reinforcement and punishment also affect motivation by providing incentives. Vicarious reinforcement occurs when individuals' response increases as a result of observing others being reinforced for that response. Conversely, vicarious punishment occurs when individuals' response decreases when others are observed being punished for that response. Another important aspect of social cognitive theory is self-regulation, the process through which individuals set goals and determine the behaviors and thought processes necessary to achieve those goals. The key aspects of self-regulated behavior are emotion regulation, which is regulating the emotions to maintain positive behavior, self-instruction, which is internalized instructions using complex tasks, self-monitoring, which is observing the recording of one's own behavior, self-evaluation, that is, evaluation of one's own performance or behavior, and finally, self-imposed contingency, the reinforcement or punishment of self following a behavior. Theorists believe highly effective learners are self-regulated learners, in charge of both their cognitive processes and the behaviors that help them to learn successfully. This type of learning occurs over time and is strongly influenced by environmental influences such as modeling. Modeling is observation or imitation of another person's behavior or the demonstration of a behavior for another person. It is also an important facet of social cognitive theory. There are different types of models. Live models are models observed in person by an individual, and symbolic models are models that may be real or fictional characters portrayed in the media that influence an observer's behavior. There are also specific types of modeling called cognitive modeling, which demonstrates how to think about as well as how to do a task. Clearly, the complex interactions among people, their environment, and the behaviors are the foundations of social cognitive theory. This interaction is known as reciprocal causation. An understanding of reciprocal causation guides much of the pedagogy associated with social cognitive theory. In this analysis, we will define and give examples of social cognitive theory. Then we will examine how this theory was used in Mr. Hogan's 4th grade Canoga Park classroom and show evidence of the strategies used by the teacher, as well as suggest some new ideas using components of social cognitive theory that we could consider implementing in the lesson to improve student learning in the classroom using self-regulation, modeling, and a pair and share activity.
Somewhere, baby, it's part of me, apart from me. It ain't ways to hollow. You did friend, it's on its head, it struck the street. You're in Milwaukee off your feet.
In Canoga Park, 4th grade, we can see several examples of social cognitive theory at work in Mr. Hogan's classroom as he and his students discuss the implications of Gutenberg's printing press. In Pair and Share, Mr. Hogan asks his class to break out into pairs for discussion. After a brief time, he brings the class together again and asks individuals to discuss their partner's findings. As Mr. Hogan gives instructions to his class, he provides overt external guidance. In this way, Mr. Hogan models self-instruction. As students work together in pairs, they evaluate their own performances and learn how to focus their attention. As they do so, they practice self-evaluation and self-instruction. Both are important tools of self-regulation. Self-efficacy is also observable in Pair and Share. As students work in small groups, they develop self-efficacy based on perceptions of their own and others' capabilities. One final element at work in Pair and Share is modeling. As students observe and imitate their partner's behavior and relay their opinions to the class, they are modeling new skills and behaviors. The class also models cognitively from the speaker, as observations enable others to acquire many behaviors with cognitive components. As students model behavior, they develop greater self-efficacy, especially when the individual they model is another student. After Pair and Share presentations, Mr. Hogan gives instructions for a class discussion. He asks the entire class to listen carefully to each other's ideas and respond to them. As he repeats instructions to the class, he engages in cognitive modeling. He also scaffolds strategies for complex problem solving, models self-instruction, and provides a certain amount of autonomy. This autonomy allows students to model their peers rather than the teacher. Peer modeling can be much more effective than modeling a teacher. As the group listens to each other, they also evaluate their own performances. And as they determine how to answer the question, they practice individual goal setting. All these actions enhance self-regulation. Self-efficacy is also at play in Mr. Hogan's classroom. As the class engages in discussion, individuals gain confidence from their perceptions of their own and others' capabilities, as well as from the reinforcement provided when their ideas are consistent with and supported by other students and the teacher. A few times during the course of the discussion, Mr. Hogan synthesizes key elements or brings the conversation back from an unexpected detour. By doing so, he helps keep students on track as they move through challenging tasks. All these behaviors reinforce student self-efficacy.
Somewhere, baby, it's part of me, apart from me. It ain't ways to hollow. Your dead friend, it's on its head, it struck the street. You're in Milwaukee off your feet. And once I knew I was not magnificent. Straight above the highway, chicken bacon stick with us.
Creating metacognitive knowledge. Students will form a hypothesis regarding the implications of the printing press through an awareness and application of complex learning strategies developed during group and class discussions and an independent writing activity. For the assessment, formative assessment will occur as each child speaks. Their ability to take instruction regarding the format and expectations of the discussion will provide insight into their ability to understand and implement complex learning strategies, while mode of response, depth of understanding, and ways the discussion evolves will provide insight into the strategic and self-knowledge of the students. Summative assessment will be given at the last 10 minutes of class, with students sharing their hypothesis regarding the impact of the printing press, their opinion of how helpful the class discussion was, and whether the individual opinion as a result of the discussion. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed our presentation. Now here's an example of live modeling.
Dearest, though you're the nearest to my heart, please don't ever, ooh yeah, ever say we'll part.